Things you may not know about electric vehicles. In recent years, electric cars have been some of the most popular things in the entire world. They've been intriguing, revolutionary, and are changing the entire industry. While most people want to get an electric car because they're better for the environment, that's not what they were initially made for. There are tons of facts, like this one, that you might not know about electric vehicles. So in this video, we'll be going over 5 of our favorites. Number 5. Who created electric vehicles? Even though it seems like electric vehicles are a new thing, they're actually not. Electric vehicles actually date back all the way to the 1800s, but there isn't just one person responsible for it. In 1828, the first working version of an electric motor was made by the Hungarian engineer Anyos Jedlik. He also made the little car that was powered by the motor. Between the years of 1832 and 1839, the Scottish inventor Robert Anderson created a crude electric power system and used it to power a carriage. The cells were non-rechargeable, so they had to be entirely changed each time the carriage ran out of charge. Throughout the second half of the 1800s, other people also invented their own versions of the electric car. Among them was Professor Sibrandus Stratingh of the Netherlands, Thomas Davenport, a blacksmith from Vermont, Scottish chemist Robert Davidson, but all of their versions too were non-rechargeable cars. Although the first version of the electric cars that we know today was created by the American inventor William Morrison in 1891, he created a 6-person carriage that was able to reach speeds up to 14 miles an hour. Around the same time, Thomas Parker, a British inventor, also made his own version of the cart, although his was a little smaller, popularizing the concept in the UK. Number 4. Why were electric cars made? In the 1800s, the main type of vehicles would be either an animal-pulled carriage or combustion engine cars. Animal carriages had gotten too old, so most people who could afford it made the switch to combustion engine vehicles. But these vehicles weren't exactly for everyone. The cars were incredibly difficult to start up. They would require a lot of force to start, and even once they were up and running, things like switching the gears, pressing the brakes, and controlling the steering wheel were a nightmare. This, along with the amount of noise they made and the smoke they emitted, made the cars less than pleasant to be around, to say the least. All of the problems together created a need for an alternative, and so electric cars were made. Number 3. The main market for the first electric vehicles wasn't who you might expect. Even though it may seem that electric cars would have been super popular for rich men, they weren't really the main consumer market for them. Granted, it was still the 1800s and men wanted manly cars, so they just stuck with the hard to drive and crazy to maintain combustion and steam engine cars. The main consumers were actually women. The women who wanted cars that weren't unnecessarily hard to drive and just wanted to make shorter trips around their own cities ended up buying most of the electric vehicles. Even Clara Ford, who was the wife of Henry Ford, who founded the Ford Motor Company, used to drive an electric car. Number 2. They're extremely low maintenance. Most people think that because there's a lot of tech involved with electric cars, they have to be more work to maintain, but the reality is quite the opposite. Regular cars have a lot of fluids, parts, and oils all working together to power the vehicle. Electric cars don't really have a lot of that. The main car is powered by an electric engine, and the rest of the parts are wiring and relatively fluid-free. The braking system is important to the overall charging mechanism, so a lot of thought has been put into designing them. The system makes it so that the brake pads aren't hit as hard as they are with regular cars, so you end up needing to replace them a lot less than if you had a regular car. There's very little you need to do to maintain an electric car, making them low maintenance and extremely easy on the pocket in the long run. Number 1. The noise of electric cars is fake. Unlike regular gas cars, which would usually be made as loud as possible to make them seem cooler, electric cars have always been on the quieter side. This is because electric cars aren't really using gas to convert it into power and don't have to work as hard to get moving. Traditionally, electric cars were pretty much silent. They drove like floating spaceships. This was really nice, but it became a dangerous problem. Cyclists and pedestrians weren't able to hear any of the cars approach them, and because of it, people were getting into accidents all the time. This created the need for fake engine sounds to be added to the cars. Laws have been passed in all major countries that require companies to make electric cars even louder than they are right now to ensure everyone around them can hear them coming. And that's a wrap for the 5 things you probably didn't know about electric vehicles. Which one of these was the most shocking one for you? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.